Okay, so having looked at the previous slides and the metrics you used, just a few questions about it really. So is it a new process?
No, it's a process we've been using for quite some time now.
Okay.
It's changed, adapted, and developed. So it's unfortunate that you haven't seen it before.
Yeah.
But it is something that we're quite comfortable with. So we're quite happy to discuss it with you and help you understand it.
And how does it relate to the SPT? Malcolm asked me the other day at a supplier conference whether I'd seen an SPT, and I said yes, but we didn't complete it. I'd just seen one.
So do you mean how do the metrics relate to the SPT?
Well, I don't know.
What's your question then?
Well, how does the SPT relate? Is this part of the SPT? Are we having an SPT going forward?
So the SPT will share on a monthly basis with you, and in that SPT will be these metrics.
Okay.
So it's within.
It's within the SPT.
Okay.
So should we use that in that monthly meeting? Is that one?
It's probably the best tool to use.
Okay.
Okay. We'll bring the SPT to these reviews.
Yeah, we'll publish the SPT to you before the review, so you can look at the metrics, you can agree the metrics, and then we can discuss them in the meeting.
I think we've covered some of the other points there about obviously we're not seeing these KPIs for some time, and we've spoken about technical queries. We absolutely accept that we've got some issues that we need to talk about.
Yeah.
One question we did have, there's not invoice payments on any of the metrics we see.
Yeah, no.
Some invoices outstanding, so is there a way we can start looking at monthly?
Yeah, for me that's an important issue that I think we got instances where we haven't been paid on time or there's been delay in invoices being paid, so we definitely need to get that rectified because it's affecting our cash flow and it's affecting the figures that the figures of the business. So it's quite important. I think it is an important thing to put in there.
But isn't it, again, it makes Talis an expensive account to manage rather than having to fund and cash to make sure we're right about it.
Sorry, I'd just like to raise a quick question on, you say many delays relate to lack of technical query response. Obviously, we've gone through some of the issues. Can you quantify that at all? Is there some, do you collect some figures around delays in the RFI answering, how long it takes?
I still need to send that through after the meeting in terms of the technical queries.
I'd like to see that, and I might like to add that into a scorecard maybe, or something. We could add that in RFI response times, queries. I'd just like to quantify what impact that's having.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's really important because that is exactly the delays that we can't do anything about, which is difficult and where we need you.
Yeah.
And actually, from the Pareto, it's hard to derive, but I can change that. I would say it's about 1/5 or something.
Okay.
The other is really for us.
Okay. It's just a little vague. I just like to put some numbers around it, get a bit more detail.
And before we move on, with the metrics we've just discussed, obviously we haven't got the answers right here, right now, but obviously you've got quite a big team of procurement out there. Are they able to, while we're here, put some data behind the questions we've got? Obviously, we've got your new supply chain manager that's been with you since 2016. He's not here, but is he around? Could you pull that data for us so that we could discuss it?
I suggest to wait until I have presented the Pareto and on the delays and the quality issues, and then when there are more questions.
What about the on-time delivery? Is there no one that can look through?
Yeah, I think we need a lot of information from yourselves as well, just with regards to if we believe it was on time or if we believe we were held.
But you should be able to find that data. You should be able to have if you've got a team of 25 procurement people out there, is there no one that can...
The problem is at the moment we've got some graphs at the end of the data sat behind it, so we don't really know what order ones you're looking at.
Yeah.
But you're saying that...
Then we could put something together within a few days.
Yeah, but you've been saying to us that there's some issues with us. So can you get someone to bring in some of that data so we can actually have a look at it?
I will look into that. That's what I just said. I will have to quantify it, what is really related to the number of queries. I don't think it's from the Pareto visible right now what is really related to that. Yeah. I will have to rerun my statistics.
I think it's part of the cost analysis exercise.
Yeah,
We can get the figures together, but I mean, we was notified this meeting at quite a late notice, wasn't it? So we haven't had time to. I wouldn't be happy to present all the figures yet in a way that I'd be happy. We can get them together. That's not a problem.
So something for next month. Next
Yeah.
month we have more detail on that. But for today. Let's try to give you a feeling that we have done our proper cost analysis on both delays and non-conformities, and with the load and capacity plan to aim for a recovery plan, and that we can give you some trust, give you a good feeling on that. We've put a lot of effort in it, and so the answer is no. I can't quantify it down.
I'll take it as an action, along with the.
We can't bring somebody in.
So we can, at our first monthly meeting, we can discuss, and it'll be the raw details as well as the graphs, so we actually have details to go along and compare against your open order book.
Yeah, I think before we actually get to that monthly meeting, though, we need to be able to put plans in place and have actions and data to back it up, because all we're doing is delaying this recovery even further, and we don't understand at this moment exactly the drill down issues behind it.
We agree fully, but at the moment all we've got is the graphs you sent us. We don't know what sits behind us. We don't know what items you think are delayed, and therefore we can't correlate it with the items that.
Yeah, but would you?
that we know
Okay,
are
so
causing
I
issues.
would suggest that you actually look at that and respond back to us, so within the next 2 days, so that we can then move forward, have a follow-up
fine.
meeting before next month. We can't leave it
Of
another
course,
month.
yeah, that's
fine.
fine. Can you send through the detail behind the graph, so we can compare it?
If we can know what's behind this, then we can compare to what we've got, and then we can give you a response to all of this. But we need to know the data behind.
But if you don't know the
before
data
once
behind it, how are you saying it's our responsibility?
Well, we can correlate our data with the back order. If you said there's 10 lines late, we might only think there's 3 lines late.
That's what I'm
We
saying.
need
We
to
need
No,
your
we-
detail as
For
well.
example, we can't release the production files if we don't get the signature from Thales that it is agreed, and so it's still waiting.
Yep.
And then, but in order to quantify, I can just say that now it's around 1/5, and if you want to know if it is 18.4, I can come with that figure next month. But for now, I have done another Pareto, not really related to that. So we can't show, especially not during this day.
We absolutely can't wait another month for this to go on.
We don't need
No,
another
no,
one.
no.
But I can provide it to you earlier.
Yeah, so what I would suggest, I mean, today's Wednesday, so if you could get that data over to us on Friday, and then we'll set up a call on
We
Monday
can get the
to
data
actually.
over 2 days after you send us your data. The trouble is, what you're asking us to do otherwise is look at every single order line and give you a report on where we are with that. It's another example of Thales trying to force us
It's
to do
unrealistic,
something which
yeah.
makes it more expensive to service the account. Within that data, there's lines that you think are late. So share us the data, tell us which lines you think are late, and then we'll respond and check whether we agree with that.
Would you be able to get that over to them? Open order book and lines rates?
Yeah, so we do, I mean, again, as I said about an SMA, it's like we can sit down, catch up and give you something for the next week, and we can
So let's agree 2 days after you've given our data, then 2 days after that we'll have the response back to you.
Two working days.
Yeah, 2 working days.
So
Next
be
one's
able
a
to run
holiday.
reports
Yeah.
and send it over to them. The open
yeah, on our
order
ERP
book
system,
and
yeah,
the
explore that.
POSR, get that over to them. If you can do that tomorrow, then you can respond by Friday and we can review
But if
it.
you give us data tomorrow, then I think by Friday's unrealistic. So
Do you need to have the same approach for the non-conformities? So do you recognize there are non-conformities? Do you have them quantified?
Yeah.
Or do you need our support to again send
No,
you all the
for-
data?
For non-conformity is not mainly on
We need to
the same
understand
data.
what
we need the
these
same
things
data.
are the non-conformities. Obviously, we haven't seen this graph before.
So basically, the way we work, every time we book in material, we check it, or when it's delivered to site and our colleagues are trying to, our installation managers are trying to install it, if there is an issue, they raise an NCR. So in any way, all these issues come to quality then procurement, and they should be shared with you. So you should get every single NCR that's raised against you. You should have information about
we
it.
might not recognise a lot of those NCRs, so if we could get the report over.
We
to
could,
you,
yeah, we have them all.
Run through and let you know which ones we have.
We have them. It's quite easy. So they are on Jira, so we can just extract a report and send it to you, so you can have exactly. But that's the approach. So you should have each of them delivered to you. You should be able to come back to us in 2 days'
Maybe
time.
it's good if we have a one-to-one communication line on that, beside next to the monthly meeting.
Well,
And then in the monthly meeting, we can just show the graphs and
absolutely.
Do they have access to the portal?
We can try to give you access to Jira as well, to have access directly to the NCRs, because well, again, in this business in aerospace, I mean,
That
we
would
really
be
need
better.
to be careful with the quality. It's all about quality.
Yeah.
So
As long as
No.
there's the correct training, I don't think
Yeah.
we've got an issue
No,
with
but
that.
we have people that
we would treat that as a customer complaint, and we have our own process there again, and our own answering times that we measure.
all right.
And so we will give feedback on that.
I will need to talk as well to liaise with Patricia, because usually it works. It has to go through her, but we'll if you want a direct line with me, I mean, in this specific case we can have it, because it's getting to
I
a point
think
where
I
we
think-
need to take actions.
I think I would. I mean, I sense a little concern that there's
We
a
do
lack
have
of
it, yeah.
communication or whatever. Then let's have this communication on the right levels. So on quality, when it comes to non-conformities or whatever, I'll do my business with you. And then once every month, we will meet each other face to face in a meeting.
All right, because I don't know if we will discuss it later on, but we are facing new quality issues, or we just found out that one of our plants had issues on some parts that were delivered. So we have basically quarantined 1,000
Okay.
parts on a specific plant. So again, another issue that's being raised. I don't know if it's due to quality, due to your product or another supplier,
No,
but we are now so concerned, and obviously we have blocked the production on that
Are
site.
we
So
aware of that issue?
No,
don't think
well, I
it's-
don't think you know what the supplier is. You just say that.
no, but we are. I mean, it's related to the same sort of products, and so everything is kind of linked together apparently. And seeing the numbers, the NCRs that have been raised, we are quite concerned as well. Obviously.
Yeah, but we would obviously need to know the details.
Obviously,
before
yeah, you will get
we put a
the.
correct
We can share
in
again
place.
these details on the next. Well, we can discuss about that after this meeting, but we can try to have a monthly or weekly or bi-weekly meeting until these NCRs are all cleared.
We only seem to receive NCRs when an item is being returned, which is, I can't remember the last time.
No.
But it's not only return. I mean, it can be like we need changes. We need to fix them on site. There are a number of actions that can be done. It's not only returning. It can be different other
From changes
Things.
in your design or
a number of. I mean, each NCR is different. Can be due to same issue or different issues.
so maybe there's an
What?
issue here about who's liable. So if it's an NCR, if you need to open a tolerance.
Usually, if
there
it's
might be-
an NCR, usually it's related to the supplier. So
Yeah.
if not, it will be another process. But what I'm worried is that you have not been able to apparently seen this NCR. So that's what I want to do. I want to share all of them with you. Because it will provide you with information actually,
Yeah.
and it will allow you to understand what are our issues, what your issues with your products.
Yeah.
Can you flip back in slide? On the IER report, maybe Gilbert already understands, but just for my knowledge, how are these recorded? Is it per part or per line item on the PO?
So it's per part,
Per part?
and then we measure them per million. But basically, you can think about it as a percentage, basically, of failures that we can accept. But we
And
measure
what is your
them.
percentage that you accept?
So it's
5,000?
99.5%.
5 parts, 5,000 per million. So
So once we get all the NCR details, we'll then be able to monitor the critical parts and get those prioritized first. Obviously, Gilbert touched on those from the Pareto analysis. But it would obviously help once we know the critical path, we'll prioritize that.
all right.
So, do you want to lead on?
Yeah.
this?
Well, as stated, we have pretty good insight now in where the faults are, and on top you see the products. Some of you may recognize, and we see that the most problems are with the structure So that's where we have our corrective actions running, and then I understand you want to have more detailed information behind that, but I don't think this is the complete forum in sharing these amount of detail. And the same is okay. What kind of faults it are, and it's mainly dimensional. So this is what we are working on, and then what we try to recover from. And then on the next slide.
But is it just, I mean,
okay.
being this one structure is issue, the best one or the most important, relevant one on that table, is it due to the supplier? Is it due to you? So have you identified the key issue that's causing that problem?
Yeah, it's the machining itself.
Your machine,
yeah,
your machinery.
It's quite an old one. So I have to discuss, or we have to discuss within the management what we will do about that.
Okay. So you have identified the issue, and now you have to decide what you're gonna do.
Yeah. And but when there must be some NCRs related to this.
I'm sure there will be.
So
Yeah.
I can answer that in kind of AD report to you, and then.
All right.
It's just that I remember it was brought up in the first half that if our data packs was often that dimensions were missing.
Yeah.
I see here dimensions are the top 2 causes on rejects.
Yeah, correct.
But it makes me wonder how you're managing to manufacture something if it's missing a dimension.
It's not missing a dimension. It's yeah. I mean, it's how to say it's a dimensional fault. So it doesn't
Okay.
fit. It's not conform.
So just want to understand whether that's the quality of our data is impacting the manufacturing issues. But
Yeah.
it sounds like it's a tooling or a machine issue.
Yeah,
then
but it is, and we will also.
We specify what. Surely we will.
If that's some liability or their own, it might be that the NSR was raised because it's not the correct dimension, but the correct dimension wasn't on that back, or maybe it was a concession raised or something.
Yeah, I think the order that relates to a lot of this, we had concessions raised because there weren't any dimensions on them. So it shows as a non-compliance because we're not compliant with in so much as there's an concession raised.
Yeah.
But actually that concession needed to be there because Talison's data is wrong, we couldn't have delivered otherwise.
So they just think the concessions need to be reviewed against the NCRs, but obviously we'll get to that whenever we see the detail behind.
Yeah. So maybe on the next slide, because that was okay. This is how we did the root cause analysis on the issues. It's all in French. So just skip it.
It's interesting. I couldn't believe you. I thought we didn't have French speakers. Next week, because I know that's something that we've struggled with in France. Some of our colleagues have asked us to speak because, there's not many French.
But David's been
speakers
learning French, and that's why it's in French. But this is our first step to showing free relations by David can now speak French.
Can you translate for us then?
Yeah.
He can.
Yes.
You'd have to say, I can really understand how
This is formation.
Paid a lot of money to put them in.
Sometimes it's in English behind it, and sometimes it's Fringlish. So,
Let's not get lost in translation.
No. But anyway, this is just our methodology behind the way that we spend effort on these issues, just to give you an idea. The next slide, maybe.
Well, I think we actually need to agree that all slides for this forum are in English in future because we can't understand.
There's French and English there. So
That's
the
fine.
question on
Anyway,
We're just,
the next time I will do it in English.
I don't think it is.
The next page.
So what was that slide actually showing us?
Yeah, can you go back and
Root cause
explain?
analysis.
Sorry,
What's that slide actually showing?
one at a time, please.
What's that slide actually showing us? What
This is Ishikawa fishbone diagram. It's the methodology we use to identify the root cause. It's something that Michael will understand. So it's just giving you an idea that we are not doing our root cause analysis not thorough enough.
So is this on an example of one of
It's an example on one of the fault categories. Okay, we had the dimensional faults. For the dimensional faults, we will draw up a fishbone diagram. What could cause these dimensional faults? Is it man? Is it machine? Is it methodology?
Why have I shown that there is sort of process in place when there is a defect or a fault? We are doing something about it.
But is this the method that you have been using since for the last 12 months, or this is something new?
Longer.
Because we don't really need to go back, but again, if we see the evolution of the NCRs, we don't see an improvement actually. So
No.
if this is the way you are checking or like working for the last 12 months and the number of NCRs having up instead of down, maybe we should try to work in a different way or consider a different approach maybe?
Maybe we went not deep enough. I mean, I would try to give you some confidence in that we are on the right track. I mean, the figures do not lie. I mean, we see the same effect. And but in this meeting here today in Poland, I would like to give you an overview on what we are doing and how we work in order to recover or to become better.
All right.
And so maybe on the next slide.
I think so. The same point's true. We need the NCRs to know which faults you think of, or you've recorded, and therefore understand. The ones you fixed in factory, we probably have no knowledge of, and probably haven't done this.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, I think that you all recognize that there are issues, that there are faults, that there are NCRs being raised. I mean, you see them. So so obviously you need our help, support, and information, the ones that we can gather. But again, I know that you are familiar with this. I mean, it's obvious, let's say.
From my perspective, John, can I ask you to, for your supply chain manager, to produce something similar in terms of on-time delivery?
Yeah.
Yep.
Or have you been cutting that out recently?
Or maybe as an action to provide you with that.
Just for good systems.
Uh-huh.
Then the next slide is because this is on the delays. We did the similar. So where do the delays come from? And we had this question on how much was related to the technical data package. And here you can see that 33% is related to the retard launch, and this is finalizing our production files. The whole 33% is not. It's also partly internally we have, but this is the big slice that is related to the missing Thales signatures. And it says family retard. In English, it's a little bit. We should get rid of this share of.
David, you have to improve your French.
But anyway, this is again just to give you some confidence in that we are working on the right things. Because on the next slide, I don't know.
Gives me no confidence.
So can I just check that 33% are you saying is due to Thales?
No. It's once again, it's we can't launch our production files.
Because you're waiting.
Because it can't be released because we do not have the customer approval.
So
and it's not the full 33%. Part of it is also because somebody can be ill or whatever. But as stated, because I mentioned 20% or 25% related to Thales, I believe.
I think I said benefit.
Well.
I said delays. It was a rough estimate.
Rough estimate was 20%. Well, the 20% is in that slice.
When we look back at the Ishikawa graph, actually, you can see, I think I see it now, you've got about 12 faults, I see down the bottom, down to the machines.
Yeah.
You've got 16 on data files, I would take that. And then processes up on the top left there with 11. So I'd expect to see that kind of reflected back in those graphs. So it seems like it's a bit of a mix between the machine and the data files.
But this Ishikawa is not related to the delays.
Right, but is this related to faults?
This is related to the non-conformities. It was just the example. Do I have more slides or? Oh no, yeah. This is just something for Brandy
Yeah.
on how we do our load and capacity planning and.
Yeah, so this is basically a snapshot of what are the load of our machines at the moment. As discussed earlier on, we can do, depending on your priorities, and to get back to green, obviously we can tweak our capacity plans. We're currently about 75%. We have the capacity to work an extra shift or whatever. Obviously that would be more expensive for John, but we would like to recover any issues that you believe we have. Obviously we've got certain issues that we need to agree together. The capacity can be increased or changed, whatever, as you require.
So it's not capacity on 2 of your machines isn't an issue.
No.
It's just on the third machine.
Yeah, yeah.
And you don't have, what about weasels? Because you're saying about extra shifts, you have available weasels to
We have resource there, yeah.
cover additional shifts.
Yeah, we
So,
have
so
double.
what's the current shift pattern that you're working now?
Just 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, but we can obviously put on a Saturday shift, or can let the guys work an extra few hours over the day.
Are they usually willing to do that?
Yeah, they're pretty willing, yeah, it's pretty good atmosphere and room, you know.
And is there downtime for these machines? Are they calibrated, or does that get scheduled?
We have had the whole IPCA audit on that, and they have identified 4 findings. One on the first article inspection process. I mean, maybe those kind of things are in the report, and then you did not find anything on that matter on our machine maintenance.
No, I'm just saying, obviously, when your machines get calibrated, and obviously there'll be a bit of downtime
Yeah, but
there.
they are. I mean, the corrective and preventive maintenance is done. But like I said, we have one older machine that should be replaced because it's impacting most of.
Yeah, and just in the past day there, we've heard, well, just this morning actually, John's advised me that machine has actually broken down, and it has been the past 4 days, but we don't know if it's beyond repair.
We've leased one for now, for the time being.
And how's that impacted our delivery schedule?
It shouldn't, because we've been able to lease one in, luckily be able to get one quite urgently. But the plan is to invest some money to buy a new machine. So it should be, well, it will be more reliable, and we're hoping to get that.
And is it a like-for-like machine, or is there going to be a period of training for the new machine?
So as part of the lease that's come in, the company that we've leased it from, they brought some staff with it to obviously use the machine and train the people that we've got on it at the minute, so it shouldn't affect any capacity problems or any of your schedules.
So potentially there's an opportunity for you to buy a more efficient machine if your old ones are older, get a new state-of-the-art machine and improve your...
I think that's the direction that I personally want to take the company to buy a new machine, so to buy a new machinery just gives us...
To make yourself more efficient.
Yeah, more efficient. It obviously gives us a competitive advantage, and that should have a knock-on effect on reducing quality issues, and obviously maybe if it's more efficient then reducing the back orders that we've got.
You will sell the Porsche.
I'll make you a good offer.
It will be a small carry. How often do you upgrade your machine, the training and getting a new machine? How around you looking like it? So it's small capacity.
So
as long as we can
implementing
bring that out and
machinery,
plan somewhere.
especially for trying to get into the new business, the API program, rapid prototype machines.
Yeah, I think it's been a goal of the company to have a transition period to get rid of all the old machinery and bring in new machinery, but obviously with events like that, I think it has brought that plan forward and made it a more serious issue. So I think we're going to try and speed up that process of clearing out all the old machinery and bringing in new machinery. Like for light machinery, no. See, with the lease machine, there is some training, but with the new machinery, it'll be like for like. There'll be no requirement for training. Maybe some small level training, but it'll be like.
I will be involved in the release process of that machine.
Okay. So there's no changes to the end product, so what we've been buying.
No.
But do you not need to, how are you going to requalify that machine for our products?
That's according to our process.
So we would expect to see all of this as part of the corrective plan.
Yeah, and if you need a Delta FAI on any of the parts, we can do that.
Yeah.
For the new machine.
So if you're going to re-qualify this machine and you've got training, there is going to be an additional, there will be a backlog, there will be a delay because you're obviously going to slip in your current schedule.
Well, not at the moment. We have at least the same piece of equipment on lease from the supplier.
Which isn't currently affecting
so it's
schedule.
not new because you just said that.
We've heard this morning that it's been down for a few days, but it hasn't been impacting any of your products to date that we're aware of.
No, we can't work on them, so anything else to technical queries.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, a question I have is you said you replace the machine and it will make no change to the products we're buying whatsoever, it'll be the same line for line. Have you looked at replacing your machines to look at ways you can innovate your products and offer more value or produce more efficiently, or are you looking at ways that you can innovate and improve?
We have been doing that since I've been brought into the company. We have bought the equipment to do that, and you'll see in some of your LTI bits, if you've had visibility of them, that we will be using some of our new machines for that.
And the new machine will be more efficient anyway. So our capacity could.
We have our KPIs on the overall equipment efficiency.
Yeah.
And we are continuously trying to improve in that area also.
So knowing that one machine has failed, do you see there's a risk for the other two machines to fail if they are the same?
That's why.
They're newer, aren't they? So
The other machines are newer than the older ones, but that's why we have got risk management in there for other machines, and as I've just mentioned, that's why the plan to buy new machinery has become a more forefront plan, and it has been brought forward quite drastically to make sure that this doesn't happen to any of the other machines.
When are you expecting to receive the new machine?
So we're in the process of.
It's on about 12-week lead time, so in between that time, if the MPI bid comes through, we clarify some of the issues, we get the purchase orders, we'll be able to do what we can on the lease machine.
Which is fully calibrated. You're not expecting more issues, right, with this list?
But for the release, we take 5 days anyway.
So I would like to see how you're going to satisfy our orders with this machine. So I would like to see a proper plan for the next 12 weeks
you will get the first article inspection reports again. Some of them might be partial, some of them might be full. But I can share that with you. And maybe Michael wants to have a look, or Robert.
I think we can arrange an FAI.
Now we are doing that. I mean, it's a major industrial change that we now share with you on a notification basis.
We have risk management. There's a risk register, so we have people accountable for certain risks, and we're more than happy to share that risk register with you to maybe give you some reassurance that the potential issue isn't going to.
Actually, this risk was foreseen. We mentioned it last year in our risk reporting that this machine may fail.
So I understand. Are our products qualified across all your machines and all your lines, or are they just qualified on this one machine that you've just?
It depends on the product. Some products can run on several lines. Some products are dedicated to one line. Depends on your product.
Is there any way just to mitigate that risk going forward that we could actually look at qualifying on more than one machine?
Yeah, if we can do with your product to produce it on more machines, we would love to, but it's unfortunately with this older machine and some of your older products, it had to be done on this machine.
So this is mainly for legacy products, is it?
Yeah.
Since this is what we see at the moment has been our recovery plan for the back order based on the details that we have. So the green line basically is a supplier commitment, the blue is non-critical delay, and the red is critical delay. So we foresee us managing that to come down to 100 to actually recover what we have on backlog at the moment. Now, 3 conversations today or in the next few weeks for this next meeting. There's companies and demands might change. So if you give us the details behind the critical path to be advised, we will adapt our recovery plan to meet your needs.
I think what's key for us, the green line represents what we commit to an order. Have got more capacity, we can do something that in the short term we can expand the capacity. The parts really are our understanding of what we need. We need that confirmed so we can put that together.
So this is just like a first stab of the recovery plan?
Yeah, one.
So, sorry, so I'm just trying to understand. So what's actually caused the drop? Why are we in recovery? Is it machinery capacity, or is it materials, or is it resource? So I don't understand at this moment actually what's caused the backlog.
Well, predominantly the lack of response on technical queries from talents. The only thing that we're aware of that's notably affected is a breakdown in the machines. Sure caused a couple of days delay whilst we got the new lease machine in, but
yeah,
as Tryphon said, that was a litigation action that's been in the register for months.
Okay, so in terms of backlog, how many line items are we talking about?
Well, from your details, it's based on 10 are the latest, 10 scheduled lines.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the details behind these figures might be less. It could be 1,000 parts per line, and we're sitting the highest one there is 800. So.
This is our production plan, like not our delivery plan. So the green line is what we plan to produce to meet the current orders.
So we need the orders coming in from yourselves to be able to increase that as well.
The real question is when the tariffs need to get.
Yeah.
That's what we don't have today.
Once we get those details in place, there'll be a firm recovery plan that we both need to agree on. Maybe improve on, maybe reprioritise. But
Okay.
until we get those details.
So this is actually a mix of product, then it's a mix of MPI and production stuff.
Yeah.
So I think what we need to understand is exactly the breakdown between the two, and then we'll be able to give.
I can pick up an action then.
I mean, what we've got now obviously is an open order. Some lines in the past clearly need to be changed. Some lines in the future with outstanding queries and we haven't got an answer to. So really what we need is an update of that with a date for every line when you need it and tell us what's the most critical deliveries are, and we'll come up with a plan based on the available capacity to meet that. And we need to do weekends, do overtime, etc. We need to do to help it. But as of right now, with the dates that we've put on the order, we're not going to hit them because we haven't got technical queries answered. We don't know what we want this to produce.
That's for every backlog order that all tell us is issued.
I think we need to follow up on that. I think so, haven't we?
We've got that as the previous action.
Because I know you keep saying, we need to provide our data, but obviously you will have data as well.
Yeah, we have data. We just need to compare and contrast with the data that makes your graphs compared to the data that's in ours. And it looks to be that your data is on the lines and ours is on the quantity of parts. So we'll need to ratify that as well and actually display the same like for like. Yeah.
And what's clear to me, at the point at which we took the order, we could deliver to those dates as long as all the questions are answered on time. What we've got now is a backlog really of stuff that does need to be worked through. I don't think with the standing capacity we're going to work through that backlog and hit the same sort of schedule and all the dates that we've got in the order going forward. So we just need to know what are the critical deliveries we need with for the other lines. We'll work with you to hit as many of those as we can.
Just out of interest, when it says capacity, is that solely talking about the facility here in Poland, or does that include the facility in Morocco as well?
The capacity plan, that's just the recovery plan. The capacity plan is for all of our sites. I mean, obviously it's predominantly.
But are Thales products predominantly made here in Poland, or are they made across both sites, or made in just Morocco? I'm just interested in whereabouts they're made, because obviously the Morocco facility is a lot smaller. And
it's only 50 people.
Okay.
Also, sorry, I know I appreciate that the Morocco site's one of your smallest, your smaller of the two. Yeah. Is there any plans for growth of that site to potentially get onto the scale of your site in Poland, or even potential views or scope for a third site, or is it just
not until we see any commitment from our customers that will benefit us? I'm not prepared to make that investment.
More growth, really, don't we?
Yeah.
There's a bit more business.
Yeah, I'm not prepared to make that investment for the company if it's.
Depends on the NPI.
Yeah.
Then depends on the NPI related to what we can produce over
I
there.
think we can make that or start to talk about that decision once we're clearer on sort of Thales's strategy going forward. We've got a slide on commercial compensation, so we can talk about there, but not at the present.
So just for clarification, whereabouts are Thales products made? Are they made in both facilities or just
All
one?
three. France, Morocco, and
mainly both.
When we receive an order, we make a decision on capacity at that point and capability.
I see.
So it can be any of them, predominantly Poland. That's where most of the capacity is.
Yeah.
And there's some product that we can only make in Poland because of the machinery that's there.
Understood.
But to answer your question, Commissioner, based on our current forecast of expected bids and things, our current sites satisfy that.
Okay.
Capacity-wise.
So, sorry, just to check, this recovery plan, is this for all of Thales or is this for our Thales site specifically in France?
That's specific. Well, that's actually all Thales. We can break out your site specifically within that.
Yeah, because I think I need to understand, certainly from my perspective, for the Thales site, I need a breakdown and understanding of the recovery plan for all our production.
You represent all Thales entities in this meeting. So what we did is we provided you for all Thales products on all entities the recovery plan, and not only for France or whatever.
Yeah, I just would like to see a breakdown of both.
That's fine. We can provide you with them.
We can do.
Who makes the decision if we can only get the dates you need on one entity of Thales?
That could potentially be an internal discussion that we would need to escalate internally, depending on what your recovery plan rates are and what options there are in place. But until I actually understand how it's actually broken down, we can't really give you that level of information.
So my worry is we're going to get some, after this meeting, we're going to get some demands out of you guys in terms of the dates you need. We're going to put a plan together to do it. That may mean that some of the deliveries can't be met, and you're going to need to escalate. We'll be waiting 3 or 6 months for a decision, all the while your programme's running late. Everyone's pointing at us. So how do we get ahead of that? How do we get to that decision maker on which entity makes the call?
Well, like I said, once we actually get that detail, it's something that I can push through and we can certainly escalate quickly. But without me having that level of detail, we can't actually determine what product would take priority if required. And it would depend, because that would depend on the customer, the size of the business, what the product is. But I need that level of detail from yourselves.
Taking that as an action. So detail behind the recovery plan, and obviously we need your input, but also break down per site.
Yeah.
And how quickly can you get that over to us?
Well, we obviously need some of your details in there. It's actually, we could propose a recovery plan, but it might not be what you need. So once you supply the critical path and the items that are your priority, we'll prioritise those recovery then first.
Can you not give us the breakdown of the different items at the different sites so that we can...
We can do a current recovery plan of what we find, what we'll be,
but
we need your input.
Yeah, of course, we're going to have to review that and then look at the data and then we can...
That would also mean we have to do it twice then. If you give us a list of parts that are priority, then we can filter them in and actually deliver a proper...
It makes sense for you to send us all of your data first. We can respond and have a review after that, rather than us sending data, you coming back, then us having to recalculate and send it again.
Today, all that we can do is tell you which parts are held and which bits we are free to deliver and what we can do to recover any of those that are now in the backlog. But it might be that the most important thing for you is for us to start working on a line of balance basis and partially build some of the items that the technical queries are outstanding. I don't know.
So we can partner lines now.
Sure, but we need to meet with the customer needs.
One new thing, because I just got a message from one of our suppliers, a really big American manufacturer. They are really, really nervous about one of the orders. They are facing quality issues, so they want to visit your factories. So far I have not told them yes or no. I want to talk to you first. Obviously, I think it's going to be a discussion between the two of us.
Yeah.
I will send you all the information regarding this special order, and we may
They
need
want to do an audit, or
They want to do an audit on the products because they are facing issues.
So what
Very
we're
relevant
concerned
one.
with is we've done this before, it ends up being really expensive to go on business.
And I'm not particularly keen on supplier appraisal. There's times where we've had really bad experiences of something like that, and
It costs a lot of money, and we need to understand between Talis and John Business what the issues are, I think, before we engage.
I will send all the report to you, but I think we are talking about the biggest manufacturer in the world, so I think it's going to be quite key for us and for you, obviously, to be able to prove that your products are suitable for them. So it's I think quite.
And you'll be in front of them trying to explain that the data packs are complete for them, which today we don't have that situation.
That's why I was saying that.
But
As we were talking
don't
about,
have a level of issues with the data packs. You haven't been able to provide us with any details. What we actually need from yourselves is some hard, factual information as to what is causing this.
We've sent all of that over before, but we can collate it and send it again. And now that we get a new point of contact.
we send our data, and then we're more than happy. We can have an audit, but I would like someone from engineering and Talis to be here when that happens.
I think the timescale is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that Talis and John Business are aligned where the issues lie before we call anyone else.
basically what they want to understand is the root cause of this issue. So I agree.
Yeah.
Maybe the audit is just the last of the options we have to consider, but it may be an option.
Yeah.
I think we need to discuss between quality, and maybe engineering. We need to involve them to understand what's causing these issues. But we need to do it before the end of this week, or maybe next Monday, Tuesday, because they are expecting.
Are already going to start having weekly.
But this is not just another issue. This is an issue, like the biggest issue we have right now. I mean, we had like 12 calls. I had 12 calls now, so it's like.
So your client, you said he was nervous about quality. What's only happened? They received goods, and there are issues.
They have quality issues on the
They have,
goods.
so they're not nervous about issues. They've had issues.
So they can't deliver their own products due to the products that we're delivering that are being manufactured by you.
So how come that was delivered from Talis to your customer? Why were the issues captured there?
That's something that we need to understand as well.
Can prevent that, surely.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll be surprised.
I think before discussing this a lot, we have to identify the root cause and where it lies, and that Michael and I will respond to the customer together.
We need to deploy an action plan. We need to discuss how to move forward. I just wanted to raise this issue. That's not. So we are talking about next month, next week. Well, this one has to be. We need to discuss this on the next
later
days.
today.
Yeah, I'd like to be involved. I think I know what that issue is.
You're familiar with that one.
I think what we've seen in some of these previous slides, we might be seeing some of those root causes. Obviously, it's a thing we work together, and we need to get to the bottom of it. And I think that's
absolutely.
what we'll do, but it's got to be done quite quickly.
And have you reviewed your own data packs to see if there's any issues in the spec that are slowing down to ourselves?
So I looked at those numbers. We've got 16 failures on the drawing, 12 on machines. Let's sit down, let's work out what's causing it and get to the bottom of it. We need to do that.
But we take that up after this meeting. I mean, we are here for a supplier performance meeting. We have.
That's why it's sidetracked on what the purpose of today was about. I understand there's an issue, but I don't think I'm happy to let them come in and audit us before we can decide whose liability the issues are with. So
it has not come that far yet. So
No.
I'm not happy to have them in here before we've.
I don't think we should be pointing fingers, because this is our issue.
Michael and I are in the same boat on this matter, and in order to satisfy this customer again. But we will discuss after the meeting on this specific topic. It's a huge complaint that comes in right now.
Yeah.
So please continue on the performance meeting.
I think just before we move on, that's all linked to, if you go back to your, don't have to, but the title slide of this section included IPCA audit and return to green plat. Now, all of this, I think, is included in those audit findings. So I think there were 4 specific findings. I think it'd be useful moving forward if we share the audit reports and understand from you, and maybe we can have a slide at the next presentation about how we look at those 4 areas and specifically
I can show
and move forward, because I think one of them is FIA quality. That might tie into what we're all trying to
We
determine here.
Yeah, have you received the audit report findings?
Yeah. And we have done some improvements on all 4 areas. And the first article inspection, we did not thorough enough. And part of our defects or non-conformity increase is related to that.
So I think it's good
but
for
I'm
us
now convinced. I convinced John about the worthiness, the value adding of doing these first article inspections, and we put more emphasis on it, and we will see the effect in the near future.
So I think we should, in order of, to satisfy the collaboration piece, we should work through those findings together, make sure that we mutually understand them, and then the expectation on each other to rectify them in your next audit is achieved.
Because they are not closed yet. I mean, I still have to provide the right evidence on this.
You can provide an update at the next meeting of where we are with each one of those, and we'll go through the audit in its entirety.
Going back to the previous issue, fully agree with you to John, I'm sure you don't mind a customer coming in here and the customer coming in. The issue is cost. That's what it comes down to for us. It's maintaining enough profit in this account. John's always saying to me that there's not enough margin in the quotes I put out to you guys. And for me to not erode that further by having meetings that aren't really defined.
Unnecessary,
So, absolutely will support the thing you need with the customers as long as we cover that basis.
Yeah. It sounds like the tools are in place to enable you to deliver good quality on time. Audit reports have been one of them. The tools are there. You just need to adhere to the tool, use the tools to better understand your product delivery.
It's probably one for Jill there and 500.
Sorry?
What is? Maybe if you repeat the question, what are curious?
You said about unnecessary meetings or further meetings with suppliers to erode margins of things, but for us, we don't see it as that. We see that the tools are in place for you to be able to deliver quality product on time, and metrics are put in place for checks and balances, audit reports being one of them. If you go through the audit and adhere to the audit suggestions and recommendations, then clearly your product will come back onto the acceptable line, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't see it as us eroding your margin. I see it as working collaboratively to use the tools that are in place to work together.
Correct.
But there's a lot of pressure on us to, what I've been told, to keep pricing down and lead times, but I think you have to accept that to have cheaper prices and not as margin for us, then that's something you have to suffer. I think we can't be the best. I think the quality could be amazing, but it does mean our prices go through the roof. There has to be a recognition that you have to give up something.
I mean,
we can't be
in this business. Quality, it's all about quality. Obviously we need to deliver on time because we have projects to the.
So you're saying quality is the main driver? At price we're okay with?
Well, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that from the quality point of view on aerospace. If you want to, not only us, because we as a company have been working on aerospace for many years, but if it's your goal is to be big on this business, it's about quality. You will see it's not going to be only Thales who's going to tell you this. It's going to be.
But then I need to know if we're going to invest more to ensure our quality is amazing. Then
that's procurement has to say that.
The price may rise.
I don't think your profitability is a discussion for this session, and I agree with Michael that this is about quality, and everything else comes after that.
Yeah, but if we're bidding lots of work and not winning anything, then it does start to impact on how we're going to approach some of these things.
Lots of stuff. We win 90% of what we bid for.
Yeah, but do you
do pretty well?
But you agree with me that
non-Thales work?
Yeah, across the board, higher in some cases.
Well, in terms of you mentioned the non-Thales work, some of the Thales work, as I mentioned earlier, I haven't been getting responses. I've only been here at Thales a month in the role I'm doing, but I haven't received many quotations back. So it would go a long way for me if we could just get an agreement in place to say that we will.
Yeah, I think we've already sorted that issue out.
If I could just get a kind of a nod that.
I think it was a breakdown in communication. We identified.
Yeah, but I think it's a case of that you're saying that you're wanting to win more business, but we actually need responses back to RFQs in time and timely fashion. Well,
response at all. Great.
I think maybe
If we're sending to the wrong person because we're not aware who Dave should be sending it to, I don't really think that's a problem with us.
and if you're maybe waiting for this one situation, but I have queries with the engineers, maybe that isn't being communicated.
But you should, in that instance, I would say go through me, which then I can go back door and then speak to the engineers, so then I'm always in the loop and I know what's going on, as opposed to I just assume you're speaking to them and then there's a breakdown in communication and nothing gets there.
Yeah. Well, we'll collaborate all the information that we send to Geraldine and the engineering team. So through times.
It's lovely to follow up every month. Just put it in the dashboard to see how this is evolving, and then maybe that's something that we should aim for now is to have a dashboard on some parameters. I mean, we have an idea how we look to ourselves. We can include your view on us, and then there is a gap in between your view and our view, then it's something we can discuss. But I think one of the important issues from today is how we move forward. I mean, we want to give you trust and reliability again by showing what we have done so far with regard to non-conformities, with regard to analysis, with regard to recovery. We need you, you need us, and now we have to see how will we continue, how will we set up this monthly meeting, who will attend. Because I won't attend every month. I mean, I will have my line with Michael. There are too many topics here that are a waste of my time. I need to be on the factory floor. And if I can satisfy Michael, I mean, that is my goal. And Michael can satisfy all of you.
Always.
So as I was saying, so certainly from my perspective on an MPI basis, I would suggest that you be required to join weekly pool meetings to actually get through a backlog situation.
The MPI, if the MPI project managers are talking on a proper level and I can only be involved in the escalations, that's fine for me. I don't want to be involved in all the MPI.
But that's a company decision on who's represented at the meetings. And if we don't find we get the right representation at the meetings, then obviously we go to John and say there's a mismatch in representation.
Yeah.
So that's internal.
Then we have the communication matrix. We have a monthly meeting where we will discuss quality, logistics, time and cost, or technology and cost.
Yeah.
But I don't have to be involved in all the technology discussions, only in the escalations. And we should focus on a monthly meeting, which is short, not in Poland and in France and in Morocco. Have a monthly meeting and just discuss what is not going well. So have a dashboard in place and the KPIs. And this meeting was a crash meeting because since the last 4 months our defects went up. And so that's why we put this emphasis on trying to regain your trust in that we are doing the right things.
But I think we actually need just more detail behind this because at the moment I don't feel that we have
but I don't want the details on NPI. I will share my details with Michael. And Michael can judge that. Michael can see if we are doing the right things. And we have this other topic for this afternoon. But don't be... So maybe we should continue on how we move forward and what we propose on a dashboard or...
Yeah, I think we're coming to a lot of stumbling blocks regarding metrics. I think it's not something we can resolve today, so I don't think it's an issue we need to keep going around on. Once we've sent our metrics and vice versa, then it's something that can be resolved. But I think we should probably move on from
I think
discussing
the backlog
metrics.
is a real issue and it's something that we do need to address and get resolved certainly quickly today and have a plan, an action plan in place as how we're going to do that.
It's a recovery plan, so agree on something on how to recover.
And one of the points I've picked up on is that you've said quite a few times about changing staff and things. But, you know, I've been around Talis for 10 years and I've worked on this account for a couple of years and, we've spoken before. So, if you do have things that you're not getting answers to, then you really should be, not just blaming the fact that one of our staff has moved on, but you should be, coming to to me and telling me. So I am aware of
I
the
think that's
situation.
about having that communication matrix in place, isn't it?
No, I
So
do agree, but we have
that-
spoken and we have got a relationship.
Sure,
So
but we don't only need to speak to without the communication matrix.
But then,
You know, I
yeah.
spoke to Lee Noakes, spoke to Andy Johnson, but I understand he's not enrolled yet. Spoke to Dave Pickles.
and they've all said nothing.
They couldn't provide any help on these
Three
issues, yeah.
bars and three directors. But
Yeah.
it's been in the last in a short period of time, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I see these guys regularly and they sit down with heads of engineering, but they can't help. They don't want to get involved. But
Any reason you didn't come to myself?
I didn't know to. We've got a communication matrix. I speak to the guys I've known and been involved with for years on the various forums at the Royal Club.
But not on your account.
On my account.
Like, looking after you guys. Because I've been on this account for a while. So.
Oh,
But all of this is historic, and we should be focusing on how we rectify this going forward.
agreed, which is the communication matrix.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
So it doesn't make any difference, does it?
So I've been thinking about it in terms of the recovery plan. If we could have a recovery plan so that I can see the MPI as a priority, and then because the MPI to us are new customers, they're people that we're having to get deliverables to. It's longevity business for you. This is something that's really key. And look at what you can do in terms of ramping up hours and machine capacity, etc. If I can have that to me within the next.
Well, the queries of the NPI, we can actually launch the orders because the queries are so with your engineering team.
Then I need a list of, I need to understand exactly what queries they are, what issues you've got,
Which
and then we can move that forward quickly.
Yeah, that's fine. I think you need to make sure that with NPI, you may recognise properly NPI, we might not know that it's a new product introduction. So for us, it might just be that it's an old legacy product, but there's still issues with the data packs. So whereas we'll have a list of data packs that we have problems with technical queries with, it might not be the same list that you care about. So it comes down again to giving us some idea as to which are the new products, which are the critical products.
To certainly do that this backlog, and like I said, certainly going forward, you'll have kick-off reviews and PRRs, etc. So you'll know quite clearly which are the MPI products going forward.
Each part may need its own action plan just to get through.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are willing to do that.
Nice.
To conclude today's discussion, we've got some actions. Just the ones to agree with yourselves to make sure we're on the same, singing off the same hymn sheet. So first action was both of us to provide organisation charts, and we touched on forecasts. So we would like regular forecasts, the formal one every year with updated every quarter. If that's okay. Yeah. Action 2 was then the weekly call we can put in place for MPI. We have to have the key players there in engineering, which
That's
is
technical, yeah.
yeah, technical knowledge, or we'll complete that one. And also in that we have to send over the MPI queries. So anything, to see everything that we have, to see if you guys understand it or not aware of it. Action on Jack to help improve data pack queries
What was that?
across all sites.
Action on Jack to improve data pack queries.
But in order for that, I need those
Yeah.
evidence of those data packs to
Yeah.
review. So
Yeah.
I don't know
Just
what
the-
that action is.
I've got that actually.
Yeah, second has that, just to really bring in, if you can oversee it across all sites, that would be fantastic for us. Task to advise the MPI process and other non-product deliverables. So if it's an MPI, will every MPI product need a PRR, SPR, whatever, and any QBRs, any meetings that we need to cost all that basically in to our quotations. We need to discuss, have a separate meeting to discuss the casting. So obviously Talis has chosen to take it back and put it in-house, and we don't know exactly why, and that could potentially come back to John Business to manufacture. Discuss the SX Works and DDP issues on-time delivery, and also to discuss the option of using Wincanton. David had a discussion with Dave Hickman about that. Another action then is to discuss and agree open purchase orders and the backlog. So what we think are OTD and the delivery critical, and who's liable for what really. And then going forward, we understand 10 minus 10 days plus 1 day. And we get the shipping sorted. Hopefully we'll see a lot of green rags in the future. Action task to set up the SPT. So to send through that document, as that may cover a lot of these actions and let us review them monthly. Details for POs to Patricia, if you could provide the open order book. And again, we'll agree what we think is late, but we need obviously task POs to be able to agree our figures off that. S to Jira for the NCRs, which Michael will hopefully provide.
Yep.
And between ourselves, we can get access to that. We need to do an Ishikawa for the OTD, similar to what we've done on the NCRs. That'll be between myself and Gilbert. Detail behind the recovery plan, which is your main focus, Tim. For the TALIS input, we need your TALIS input, and then we'll break it out per site, if that helps. And then the last one was just for Michael to send Gilbert details on that American customer, the query. So
We'll have a discussion later on today, so yeah.
Two more that I think we might have missed. Update the communications matrix.
Yeah.
That's both parties. And the second one was we need to see evidence of where you're rectifying the IPCA audit findings.
Yeah, that's on me.
And so there's a third additional one which I'd like to add. You guys said about the invoice issues that you had from us. We'll take a look at that. But also I have, in my handover I noticed that apparently we issued a penalty to you 18 months ago for about €50,000. So
I think to talk about that. So it's
think
a
we
detailed
probably
discussion to have.
it's just an action that we'll look at that.
Okay. It's not something we're just going to settle.
No, I mean, there's a lot of issues with that.
Yeah,
By all means, we'll look into that.
We'll have to be a separate discussion. It's not something that we're just happy to pay.
No.
And also set date for next meeting.
yeah. We should be agreed that now.
Should be.
At Talis?
You're more than welcome.
Yeah.
Which side?
Which side?
Barbados.
Barbados.
Task coming site.
Positive Island.
18th of August.
Talisman.